when we launched this game, within the first 2 days, we had made like $40 or so. That was a fairly difficult time. Yeah. So we were running out of money, and then we were trying to just focus on keeping the studio alive. So we had 3 hit games with CrazyLabs. So cutting acrylic nails and hair dye. Okay. And the 3 games together till date have done over 400 million.
I also have like my core team with me for more than 10 years now. One thing that works, there is no barriers, there is no hierarchy.
Like my dad was like, you know, at least like start looking for a job or something because you're not really making any money out of this.
I know a lot of companies, studios in India where there's a big gap between the founders and the people.
Eventually we tried to run it, but nothing happened.
Welcome to the Great Indian Gaming Podcast, man.
Great to be here, man, and thank you for showing me around your office as well. It looks amazing.
It's been like way too long that we've met each other in either of our offices.
Yeah, I know it's been a while, and usually I think like the last few times, whatever times we've met, we've had beers on the table instead of...
Yeah, bro, but do you remember this name?
Of course, GIGP.
GIGP,
GIGP. Yeah, it's a great name. I love it. I remember the name. I remember doing the podcast with you back in, I think, 2019 or so.
I think it was pre-COVID.
It was pre-COVID,
And pretty interesting episodes we did, man. I think we did at least 5 episodes.
Yeah.
And nobody was doing it. That was, in fact, people say this is early. I think we were way too early when we actually did that. Yeah,
I think you had the vision even at that time to sort of like to be able to tell that podcasting is going to be a format that is going to pick up.
Yeah, dude.
It has.
Everybody you see how the YouTube is doing podcasts on
100%.
Different things.
100%.
But yeah, I mean, this is something that I actually had in mind for a few years, and gaming mein podcast chahiye, bro. There is a lot of limelight on the gamers, the youngsters who are actually playing the game, the streamers, but nobody's focusing on the heroes who are actually building the games, right? Although we are too far from building that next, say, Wukong, the biggest of hits which can actually dominate the global market. But if we should actually start speaking to the people today who are in fact making a lot of revenues in India, who actually people don't know about.
100%. I think see, we all know that there is a lot of talent in India. We've sort of been the servicing hub for a lot of the most popular games in the world.
True.
But unfortunately, I think we've probably not been able to create a game which has scale to very big levels, sort of like in India, like sort of like born and bred in India, made in India completely. But I think we'll get there. I think the talent is there. It just sort of needs to be put together and directed in the right way.
Absolutely, man.
And there are like quite a few studios making these attempts. I think. And
in fact, so you're absolutely right, because since the time we started speaking to Sony about, and I'm talking about the PC and console side, you would probably help me understand more on the mobile side. But since I started speaking to Sony, I myself discovered hundreds of titles being made today in India, which are absolutely crazy, bro. It's just that a lot of them do not have that network, that reach, that kind of specializations with them, and that's what maybe Sony is filling that gap with people like us, right? But I have strong feeling that in the next 3 to 5 to 6 years at least, we'll have crazy games coming out globally.
Fingers crossed, man. I think you're in a very good position to do that. Working with Sony, I think it's huge. It's amazing, right? Because ultimately you're going in with your talent, and couple that with Sony's expertise, and working with them so closely is something that can really make you and your team with Sony stand out and get the Indian gaming market in the forefront.
It's insane, man. It's insane amount of learning every day.
Amazing.
But let's start, man. Tell us about you. What are you doing right now? First, quick introduction, and tell us what you are doing right now.
Okay, so quick introduction. So I run a company called Triple Tap Games. I've been in the games market actually for the last 12 years or so. Yeah, it's been a while. So ran a couple of other startups before this. My previous startup was called Firescore Interactive.
Yeah.
We were making hyper casual games, and we had 3 hit games, namely soap cutting, acrylic nails, and hair dye.
Yeah.
These games together have done like over 400 million downloads till date.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, and eventually I think in 2021 we were acquired by CrazyLabs.
Yeah.
Worked there for a period of 2 years, and now we're out starting up again. Entrepreneurship is it's a bug.
It's there.
Yeah,
it's there. I know you because I think this should be your 4th company.
This is my 3rd company.
Technically, this is the 3rd.
Yeah.
Maybe like product wise, this could be the 4th gig that you're doing. Because there is something that you did pre-COVID times, which is Pocket League. I'll get to that.
Yeah.
But how did it all start for you? Right from the beginning, where you were actually, I think you went to undergrad outside India, right?
Yeah.
Share some experience on that, and how did that help you get into this?
So I think everyone starts their journey in game development by being gamers, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't like a proper serious gamer or anything of that sort. I think I enjoyed playing games socially, like with my friends.
Yeah.
So things like back in the day, it was maybe SmackDown or PS1.
Yeah.
You know, and then after that, maybe Crash Team Racing and Mario Kart.
Yeah.
And then
there's FIFA.
FIFA was I think FIFA was probably the biggest influence in my life. Loved playing that game, played it a lot with my friends, and that sort of got me into thinking about how is the game actually made.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like just exploring that was very interesting. Then I got exposure to computer programming, and then I realized that, you know, I can actually like make games myself, you know, if I actually learn to code properly and stuff.
Yeah.
So that got me into looking at courses in India and abroad.
Okay.
I finally came across this course in the UK, and then went there to do my undergrad course. It was a 3-year course where we studied the few main pillars of game development, which is game design, programming, and game art. So in this course, I learned all the fundamentals of game design. I learned game art quite extensively as well. So doing 2D art, making sprite sheet animations on Photoshop, etc. 3D art as well, got exposure to 3ds Max over there.
Yeah.
And then eventually games programming as well, which was like a major source of my interest, at least.
Okay.
And then this sort of put me in a decent position to come back to Bombay and then maybe explore opportunities here. I didn't try to explore opportunities in the UK. Now,
any specific reason?
I don't know actually. Looking back, maybe I should have.
Yeah.
But
no, you shouldn't have.
But I don't know. I always felt a bit homesick actually. So I always like wanted to come back to Bombay and like live with my family and stuff.
Yeah.
So I came back eventually and.
But tell me something. What is the one key learning that you feel you got from that university compared to what I'm sure you are speaking to a lot of youngsters today who are doing these courses from Indian institutes and colleges learning game design, right?
Yeah.
You might have easily segregated, you know, the kind of learnings that you had outside versus what is being taught here. What is the biggest takeaway that you had through that whole course?
I don't know if there was anything specific. I feel like it really dependent on your will to learn.
Okay.
I think eventually it boiled down to how much are you willing to struggle and learn yourself in order to execute whatever needs to be executed. My course was very dependent on practicals.
Got it.
I didn't have any theory. I didn't have any exams whatsoever.
Okay.
So when I was learning 3D art, I was just spending my time on 3ds Max.
Okay.
I was learning programming. I was spending my time on Unity back in the days in 2011.
Yeah.
So it's just like practical knowledge and just sort of developing that skill during the course gave me a bit of a head start, I think, and gave me an understanding of how games are holistically made.
Got it. Yeah. But what do you think is that one reason why? Because this is 2011. 2011 mein, we hardly had any studios picking up Unity. I remember we picked up Unity in 2012.
Yeah.
But it was quite early for India.
Yeah.
What is that one thing that these people outside have learned in terms of, see, one thing is you know something and you have to teach someone about that one thing, right?
Yeah.
The problem in India is the tutors also, or the teachers who are actually teaching, they also don't know what to teach.
Yeah.
This is back in 2011 when these people are actually teaching you the right stuff, the right practical stuff which is necessary for the job or your on field, right? What do you think is that, you know, why do they know this compared to the Indian institutes?
I think the way the course was structured was that it was sort of like a hyper casual game going into a casual game. So it was very easy at the start. They would teach you the very basics. It would first principles, break down everything and just teach you basics of, say, for example, 3D art, you know, learn to make a cube, extrude one part. You know, they would break down everything like that eventually so that you properly get an understanding of why you're doing something in the 3D software. And what can be done in order to, say, complete that object. So you started the course by making a cube, then eventually graduated that to making simple objects. And then slowly you went on to building complex objects and different types of objects. So eventually you had a good knowledge of how to build things. And I think just the way it was structured, it was going from basics to expert level at a very good pace, at a pace which you could understand really well.
Got it. Also, I think what I am interpreting is probably the people who were teaching you were enough experienced and they have built games before. Like that's some major difference that I see here. The people who are actually making games or built games in the industry, eventually teaching people, that's where it, you know, translates to the next generation or the people who are learning. But I think that's one of the biggest gap in India, where the teachers have never made a game before.
100%. I think that makes a big difference. The people we had teaching us over there had experience of working in the games industry. And when you have first-hand experience, both of us know that it's very different looking at it from the outside and then trying to teach something, right? When you've built a game, you realize the nuances of it, you know, all the small things that sort of go into building it. And then it becomes a lot easier to teach someone as well. And you can give someone relevant knowledge too.
Then basically you did that and then came back to India. And what was the first thought?
So actually, in the final year of my university, I developed a fantasy football website with a friend of mine.
Like the Premier League?
Like Dream 11. So it wasn't like Dream 11, unfortunately. but it was a general fantasy football website which we just like, as we are football fans, so we just like out of passion developed it. And so we were trying to run that, you know, we sort of launched the website. We thought, we'd seen the Social Network at that time. So we thought, you know, people will come on our website as soon as we go live. None of that happened. No one, no one came to the website. So, but then I wanted to run the website and I thought, you know, let me I came back to Bombay because I wanted to just stay in Bombay, honestly.
Why is that
so? Just family. Family was one big thing. I was dating as well at that time. My wife. So, I just want to be close to the people, the people who are like the closest to me, basically. And I think that holds true even till date. Like, I mean, I always sort of like have this
homesick.
I have this thing in my head about whether is it better to sort of go and live abroad, you know, as an example. But then you always feel that, you know, all your relationships, your family, your wife, your friends, everything is over here, right? So life is good.
It's the same thing for me. I have like a window of probably 9 days and then I'm done. I can't stay away for more than 9 days from Mumbai.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I haven't traveled like a lot of countries, but maybe like 8-10 countries that I went to.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people disagree with me, but I felt Mumbai is the best city to live in.
Yeah.
Compared to any, like I can stay like 4-5 days outside, but no, not forever.
Yeah. The biggest thing for me holding me back in Bombay are the relationships.
Okay.
Like that is, I think, the biggest thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think as a city, I don't know if I should say this, but like, I mean, our infrastructure, pollution, etc.
That is true. That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
But the availability of things.
Oh yeah. It's
crazy.
Yeah, the convenience of everything
crazy.
over here is amazing.
Also one of the safest cities to be.
100%. But yeah, I was saying that. So I'd made this fantasy football website. Then I came back to Bombay, and I was just wondering what to do with it.
Yeah.
So we started contacting a few of these sort of sports websites to figure out whether they want to partner with us. And
the big deal.
To crack a big deal, basically. Yeah. So. We contacted Sportskida, which is now acquired by Nazara, actually. Yeah. So the CEO got back to us. He's like, we'll run it for the Euros in 2012. We partnered with them, ran their fantasy football game.
Oh, crazy!
Yeah, and it was good. We got like 30,000 rupees from it. Yeah, but for us, that was like our first earning, So it was really good. And then they were like, you can run it for the Premier League also. But then we were like, no, we want to run it by ourselves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So eventually we tried to run it, but nothing happened. Again, we couldn't get users. We didn't know how to market.
Yeah.
It's just like two stupid kids trying to do something. But it was very good. Like it was a great experience because we got to deal with users as well, how they were interacting with the website and stuff, and like actually get their feedback, implement it, or constantly get their thoughts throughout the season and improve things. There's a lot of fun like that. After that, I was like, my dad was like, at least like start looking for a job or something because you're not really making any money out of this.
Yeah.
You can run it on the side. So I was like, theek hai, So I started. There were very few gaming companies actually back then, and very few in Bombay as well.
Yeah, I think 4 or 5 well known. That's it.
Yeah. Exactly. And then this is where our first commonality comes in. Is both of us worked at Games to Win. So I joined Games to Win then in the start of 2013. Yeah.
Okay.
And I worked there for 6 months. And it was great, man. I think I got exposure to mobile games over there.
Yeah.
And the way they looked at games also was not just as an art form, but as
analytics and all.
Yeah, exactly. The math, the monetization, it was properly making pure play commercial mobile games, trying to generate revenue and coupling that with the art form too.
Correct.
So that's where I realized that there is a lot of money to be made in mobile games.
Yeah.
They had a game called Parking Frenzy, which had hit number 1.
Of course, we made that.
Y'all made it, yeah. So yeah, I know. So. Yeah, so great game, by the way. Well done.
Thanks, man.
And it was generating a good amount of revenue.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
Yeah, and that's where I met Abhinav, who became the co-founder of my first company.
Got it.
And started chatting with him a lot, and he sort of.
This was all in a day's play.
This was at Games 2 when I met him.
Okay.
Yeah, and
no, but the company.
The company was all in a day's play. Yes. So he was the one who told me that, dude, if you are in the top 500 in the grossing charts in the US, then you're making $500 a day. Okay. That really stuck with me because I was like, man, the potential is there to make money from mobile games. And at that time, the store wasn't that crowded.
Of course.
So opportunities were there.
Yeah.
So eventually, by the time it was mid-2013, I decided to quit Games to Win, and I had a few discussions with Abhinav. So we decided that, let's try and see if we can make something successful by ourselves. Both of us knew programming. I had knowledge of art. So it didn't take adding more people and expanding our costs to start a studio. So just both of us started off. We got some interns on board.
But your primary skill set was programming.
My primary skill set was game design actually.
Okay. But at Games to Win, you started as a game designer.
As a game designer,
okay.
Yes. Got it. Yeah. Programming was something I thought would be my primary skill set, but eventually the sort of process the business side and also the process of conceptualizing a game from scratch, giving birth to an idea, and then sort of taking that idea to complete execution was something that was very attractive.
Correct.
Which I think was the case for you as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we started up All in a Day's Play and we thought, let's make a simple game. Let's try and put something out first.
Okay.
But let's make a game which we can take as a template and make multiple other games from it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's a smart idea.
Yeah, it was with limited resources. I think that's probably a good way to go.
Also, I think at that time there was enough space for somebody to come in and pick one category and dominate it, because there was not enough players who were actually specializing in different categories.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Games to Win specifically was making driving parking simulation games. Plus the dress up games.
Yes.
And then there were a few others, but the gap and the potential to pick up any category, and that's what I think you guys were also planning for.
Exactly. So we thought we'll make a trivia game where 4 picks 1 word was very popular at that time, right?
Yeah.
We thought, let's make a simple version where you're seeing an image maybe of a celebrity, of a character, etc. And you just have to type and guess who it is.
Got it.
So we were football fans. The first game we made was 101 Legends of Football.
Okay.
It was interesting because first day after it went live on the App Store, and that time it used to take 7 days for the game to go live.
Yeah, dude. Shit.
Dark times.
Yeah. Oh man. 7 days, and I think Google Play took 3 days.
Yeah.
Apple took 7 days. Sometimes it also went up to 15 days.
Exactly.
Something comes up and
so if you have a bug in your game,
oh damn,
man, it'd be expensive as hell.
Yeah.
But when we launched this game, within the first 2 days, we had made like $40 or so.
Oh shit!
People were making purchases in the game because they were just making purchases for hints. And we were like, okay, there is some potential, and then we just started basically reskinning this game and made it around several different themes.
Got it.
So we made guess the Premier League footballer, we made guess the celebrity, guess the restaurant, guess the logo, probably another 10 more of such games. Then we also made this game called Fun Ways to Think, which was again with the same template, but it was a rebus puzzle. So basically, you would see a face and a book, and you basically have to derive that it's Facebook as the answer.
Got it.
So yeah, it was interesting. We started making around $50-$60 a day in revenue eventually from all of this. But then I think one thing that we were looking around as well and seeing all the games that were getting featured by Apple and Google, and we realized that all of these games were just very high quality. And they were not these simple trivia games that we were making. And for some reason at that time, we got the sense that getting featured by Apple and Google was the be all and end all. If you get featured by Apple and Google, you basically have made it.
Yeah.
Right? So we started then looking at other genres. I think this is around the time that we also met.
2014.
2000. Yeah. And you were doing some amazing things with your studio. I think you had...
we had Skateland.
You had Skateland at that time. We were going to Casual Connect when we met the first time, right?
Yeah. Remember that Casual Connect USA.
Yes, exactly.
We boarded the same flight.
Exactly.
Which didn't have the entertainment screen.
Yeah, which didn't have the screen. Exactly.
So we spent 10 hours talking and bullshitting about the industry.
Exactly. And it was good to know that someone was having an experience similar to yours as well.
Yeah.
Because till then we were sort of building by ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that time was gold, man.
Yeah. It was insane.
Gold. It was meeting all the other folks. We were 15 people in USA.
Yeah.
All of them had a similar stories, similar experiences. 3-4 years of making games and crazy knowledge sharing happened. Bro.
Exactly. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And so we pivoted to sort of trying to make these games of different genres, because in the hope that Apple will feature us eventually. But But I think we sort of like lost our connect with making commercial games, and we pivoted from what we thought we would do initially, and that I think kind of cost us a bit, because the games that we were trying to make, eventually we did sort of make quite decent games, but we were developing the skill set for making games in that subgenre again from scratch. Whereas we had already got a good hold of this trivia audience, and if we had stuck to trivia, maybe we would have done better. And then we were trying to make a PC game also called Movie Studio Tycoon, which I still feel would have been a great game, but we were too naive in terms of the way we approached our development process. We were not organized. We were not using Git at that time.
Damn.
You know, we were like sending code. We were switching code to each other's systems on a pen drive. You know, so yeah, we were very naive, man. And
no, but dude, that time was crazy, and everybody wanted to do. Everybody had fire, bro.
Yeah.
And fuck the skill set or the experience of doing it. Everybody wanted to jump, and it was great actually, because all of us burnt our hands really bad, but learnt so much out of it. That today we can actually be very calm and think about things.
100%. We learned a hell of a lot. I think the learnings that you get from constantly failing can't replace anything else.
Correct.
Right. So yeah, we were failing, but I think we were enjoying ourselves also, because ultimately we were creating games. So it was
also the game had good response. I remember you actually showcased it at IGDC.
I
remember during the Mukti times only, when we actually did that first one. And it had good response from people who actually played it in that expo. I remember that.
I think it would have been a good game if we had finished it. It was Abhinav's brainchild, and he put a lot of effort into the game design, because ultimately it was a simulation game and it was a very deep game.
Yeah, man.
So it would have been a fantastic game, I think, commercially, but unfortunately we didn't finish it. But yeah, I think we ran this studio, and
you actually got, I remember you actually got about 20 million downloads during that
alternate display,
which was huge. Because all of us were struggling for 1 million downloads from our games, which we made, and then you had a engine. You had a complete machinery that you built with these trivia games. Just that, some wrong calls, I guess.
It was mostly because of the trivia games, which was our core expertise. Unfortunately, didn't sort of stick to it. But good lessons over there, I think.
Man.
One thing that happened in all of this was, again, we were trying to build like proper games, so we tried to make a fighting game also. And we were chasing this Apple feature for some reason, and we were just like, dude, we have to get featured by Apple. And I don't know why, but eventually we made this game called Slam Jump, spent like 1 year making it. And then we were finally featured by Apple in 2017 in some 150 countries or so. And it didn't lead to much revenue. We made
because at that time it was not that big of a thing. Like today also, if you see Apple and Google featuring, it doesn't make a big difference.
It didn't make that much of a difference. We made like $30,000-$40,000. I mean, like after all that effort, after crying about getting featured for so long, I mean, this is the output. So it was not worth it. And it wasn't, more importantly, I think it wasn't the right, you can't base your business off getting featured by Apple and Google, right?
Of course.
It doesn't fit in with the proper business model.
So after All in a Day's Play, you started another thing.
Yes. We started, we started Firescore Interactive. The company was called Firescore Interactive, and I thought, we had done this sort of slam jump game, and I thought, as I realized at that time, as a business model, it doesn't work, and obviously building games for the West, competing against Western companies is hard. So the question was, is there an opportunity in India? And is there a good opportunity to make a meaningful amount of revenue? Obviously, on the stores, you couldn't do that. And maybe even till date, it's still difficult to make a lot of revenue in India. But at that time, real money gaming was really picking up. Dream 11 had done really well. They'd killed it in the market.
Yeah.
So at that time, we thought, maybe coupling our sort of like hyper casual games like Flappy Bird, Subway Surfers, etc. with this whole real money component will work really well for the Indian audience.
I think MPL was a big player at that time.
Yeah, so MPL had not launched at this time.
Okay. Oh,
yeah. So we started developing this game. So at this time, so I started Firescore with another co-founder, Surojit Babo.
I know.
Yeah. So yeah, Firescore, I think we started building this platform, Pocket League, and that is when MPL launched.
Got it.
Yeah, and there was news that had come out that MPL had raised
100 million something.
They raised $6 million, and then they were on course to raising $30 million. They had hyper-scaled their platform also, which was insane. It was incredible.
But eventually they did raise 100 million.
They did. They probably did.
Third round or so.
Yeah. But so we were behind in that race already. We tried to raise some funds at that time. We tried to raise a VC round. I think you remember the IGDC.
Absolutely.
We were talking to a lot of VCs. You had introduced us to a lot of people as well. Eventually, I think nothing really materialized. We didn't manage to raise funds. And as a platform, we were running the platform, but I think the initial engagement on the platform was good. But then long term, I think the platform suffered.
And I think there's always, because case studies are also not that much in India, and there's one big player who has raised a lot of money. Again, the VCs would probably take a step back on that angle as well, right? Like they have great ammunition right now. What is it that you guys going to do to compete against them with such a small amount? Because I don't think you went out and try raising like $10 million.
No.
It was a smaller amount.
It was like a 500. We tried to raise 500K basically. 100%. I think they could see through that. And I think one more thing was that running a real money gaming company is very different from running a mobile gaming company. So we had the experience of running mobile gaming companies. But RMG is a completely different play. So it's not like we are coming into this with experience. So I think they could see that too. And I think to some extent, even eventually, Surojit and I felt that this is probably not what we want to do as well, because we're not actually building games.
And I remember that you got consumed into it so much that the fun of it went, right? 100%. And then the stress of actually raising the money, because their platform was live. And I remember there is like a constant conversation with the players. One person consistently talking to them about the winning prizes and all that. I'm very sure that it would taken a toll on the fun element that you guys actually wanted to.
I think talking to the players to some extent initially was a lot of fun, because they would sort of like they would be very active with giving you feedback. I think you experienced this with Story Picks as well, right? So that is fun, but it was obviously we had like a withdrawal process where it would take like 48 to 72 hours for players to get their money back from the platform. But so they would keep nudging us.
Kabara paisa.
Yeah, exactly. Withdrawal work nahi kar raha hai and all of that whenever there are technical glitches. So all of that, obviously it's a bit hectic, but theek hai, like you take that in your stride. One big thing was the team was also sort of suffering a bit and low on morale, because we were not building games. And this team was assembled. This team was the same team that I had at All in a Day's Play. So it was assembled to build mobile games, and then suddenly, you're not really building games. So even the morale suffered. So eventually, I think we decided to discontinue it.
Discontinue the product and focus on a different genre.
And focus on a different genre. I mean, we had to, because we were running out of money at that time. So that was like that was a fairly difficult time. So we were running out of money, and then we were trying to just focus on keeping the studio alive. That had become our number one focus. So we were looking for services projects. You connected us with so many people for services projects too. Eventually, I think what happened at that time was that hyper casual as a genre was picking up. and we were hearing stories about Voodoo maybe giving retainers to developers that they're working with. At that time, we came across an article that was published on Pocket Gamer by CrazyLabs.
Yeah.
So they were looking out for developers to tie up with, and they were offering a small retainer as well.
Yeah.
So we reached out to them, sent them a cold email, and eventually they got back to us, had a look at our portfolio, and then decided that they'll work with us. The retainer wasn't enough to keep the studio alive at that time. We were still running out of funds.
Yeah.
And
how much is this retainer? Like, how much is this paid prototype amount that these publishers used to give?
At that time, they were giving us $1,500
for one prototype.
For a month.
For a month.
Yeah, for 2 prototypes in a month.
2 prototypes. Okay, that's $750.
Yeah, $750.
Got it.
Obviously, this amount would eventually go on to increase because hyper casual boomed and all developers were receiving a lot more.
Yeah,
but initially, this is what the offer on the table was. But so this was coming to us, but it wasn't enough to sustain our burn.
Yeah.
We were burning probably like more than double of this. So we were running out of funds at that time, and we started testing games with CrazyLabs.
Got it.
Tested one game called Boomerang Blast. It didn't hit their CPI metrics. So like how hyper casual publishers work, right?
Yeah. So that's something that I actually
wanted. Yeah. Cool.
Okay. So before I get into how that process works, for the audience, give me like because I remember this picked up back in 2018-19, right?
Yeah.
Hyper casual came in, it boomed, and then hybrid casual, right?
Yeah.
So first, let's just talk about hyper casual as a category. What is a hyper casual game according to you?
Yeah. So they're bite-sized games. They're games where there is one core mechanic, which is very addictive. You can play that core mechanic till a certain point. It doesn't scale too much in difficulty.
Yeah.
But it's developed so that a player can play for maybe up to 7 days and then discard it.
Got it.
So you can compare it with maybe something like Reel Shorts.
Okay.
Where you can consume a video for maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then that's it. You're done with it, right?
Yeah.
So hyper casual is like that sort of bite-sized experience.
Tell me, what is the difference between a hyper casual game and a hybrid casual game?
Yeah, so there are a few differences. Basically, hyper casual as a genre died out almost died out. It's still there are still successes here and there, but hyper casual relied on just the core mechanic being there. So you didn't have any meta, or you didn't have any like long-term progression in the game.
What is a meta?
Meta is basically things that are ancillary, or which are basically there in tandem with the core gameplay in order to enhance the core gameplay as well. So for example, in Royal Match, you're playing match 3. But after that, after you've played your match 3, you come back to the home screen where you've earned stars in the core game. But now you can utilize those stars to build your castle and build the components of the castle.
Yeah.
So it works hand in hand.
Got it. Just like in Subway Surfer, where you have the core mechanic of running and dodging.
Yeah.
With that, you have customization, which improves your skill sets and everything.
Exactly.
So you go back and you improve that.
Exactly. So on a very simple level, that's meta basically.
Got it. And I remember 2018-19 was a big year for all these bigger publishers outside India jumping into India because probably they had a lot of developers that they can work with.
Yeah.
At a very cheap cost.
Yes.
And they could test a lot of prototypes at the same time.
Yes.
Tell me this model. How did these bigger publishers outside India function? Because I'll give you one perspective. I feel it's more of a what do you call it? Like a trading business more than like a passion-driven game business. So first tell me, what is the process that these companies follow? Yeah,
I think the beauty of hyper casual was that it gave you a very clear-cut path to making revenue in mobile games.
Yeah.
They had a process.
Yeah.
Right. And so the process basically was that they would first test your game's video. the core gameplay video in the market on Facebook.
Yeah.
If it was, say, below 40 cents CPI in the US, and they would test in the US directly. Up until this point, people were not testing in the US first. They would test in Canada, Australia first, and then they would launch in the US. But Voodoo, they sort of pioneered this genre. They came in and said, we'll test directly in the US.
Yeah.
So they take a video of your core gameplay, they test it in the market. Suppose it's below 40 cents, your CPI.
Yeah.
They then tell you that, hey, you know what? Build out the rest of the game.
Okay.
Build out enough content so that I can test the day one retention.
Understood.
Of the game. So until this point, you've actually only made 4 levels of the game.
And probably 7 days of work.
Yeah, 7 days of work, exactly. And you've tested the video already and you've got validation that, okay, my game is marketable. Yeah. If the CPI is below 40 cents, it generally means that the game is marketable.
Yeah.
And it can be scaled to a lot of users.
Yeah.
So after they're done with the CPI testing, they tell you to do retention testing. If your day one retention hits certain benchmarks, maybe above 35% or so, they tell you, now you can build out the rest of the game, build out more content, and we will launch it.
Got it.
And if your game goes to launch, you can make up to over $1 million. Okay, this is Voodoo's sell. Back in the day.
Got it.
So as a developer, you're thinking, dude, like this is like very achievable.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah.
But it's harder than that. It's hard. Of course, it's right? Hard. So hyper casual publishers were coming to India, and like you said, they were looking for developers to tie up with.
Yeah.
So similarly, we tied up with CrazyLabs as well.
Yeah, you got us also in that.
Yeah. I was like, this is a great opportunity.
Yeah. Absolutely. And because at that time, the outsourcing was also kind of very dead.
Yeah.
And everybody needed work. Yeah. Everybody actually was sitting at home and trying to figure out how do you run the company.
Yeah.
Because this was right in the middle of COVID, right?
Yeah, just before COVID.
Just before COVID,
like 4-5 months before
COVID. 4-5 months.
Yeah. So yeah, man, we tested one game, didn't work out, then tested another one. That game was called Wash Something. It was a game with the power washing theme. So it hit, it got like around 40 cents CPI.
Yeah.
So we were going to move to the next phase with this. But then another publisher launched a very similar game. So we had to cancel it. So this is another truth about hyper casual.
Yeah, I was coming to that. Yeah. Tell me how.
Yeah. If you're working on something, the possibility that someone else is also working on it is massive.
Yeah.
And of course, these publishers are spying on each other as well, and they're trying to build out similar games too.
Yeah.
But you have to move very fast in this market.
No, but tell me, what's the reason? Why do you see this happening a lot?
What, like copycats?
Yeah, like, I mean, even before the prototype is out or the game is out, why do you see similar prototypes being tested from different publishers?
I think in this case, it was, so this publisher, they had released a game about peeling fruits, which was a very satisfying game.
Yeah.
So I think once that game was released, a lot of developers started thinking in that zone.
Got it.
That, let me try and think of other concepts that can be satisfying.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, like as humans, I think we just end up thinking on similar lines too.
Yeah. And that is where the birth of ASMR kind of games came out, right? The satisfying.
Yeah.
The peeling was one, the wood cutting was another one.
Wood turning as well.
Yeah, something like that. But I remember because when we were making something for Voodoo at that similar time, after you guys did the soap cutting, right? We had that, we wanted to do that ASMR thing, and we figured out we built a nice mechanic for the shredding thing.
Okay, nice.
So we built like a proper shredder game.
Yeah.
And we were testing it out with Voodoo. We did one test. It got like 25 cents CPI.
Nice.
And then the next thing we see 10 days later is Boombit already launched.
I remember this
shredding game.
Yeah.
So I didn't get why and how did they do that. But 2 years later, when we were working with another publisher, I don't want to name them, every morning, like when we signed the deal with them, right, they gave us a link to a dashboard. Now this dashboard was kind of a ritual that they asked us to follow every morning you get up and you see that dashboard. This dashboard is basically just pulling all the prototypes that are being tested at that point of time on Facebook.
Yeah.
So these are games which are not yet launched.
Yeah.
These are prototypes who are being tested.
Yeah.
And see if something can be copied or things like that.
Yeah, this is very common. I think hyper casual publishers spy on each other. Like everyone wants an edge, and there are websites as well where you can track videos that are specifically being tracked by developers who have experience of doing hyper casual.
Crazy,
so yeah, it's very common. You can track how many installs it's getting, also at least a range, so that you can know that maybe this game is doing well in the CPI campaigns. Yeah. But ultimately, if someone has tested a CPI, they already have an advantage, I think, because they are already sort of like ahead of you.
Correct.
And in today's market, at least, back then, you didn't need to make the game that deep.
Yeah.
But today you need to make a deeper game because CPI costs are rising, so which means that your game needs to be deeper as well in order to.
People are expecting more in hybrid style, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So now even if somebody knows what you're testing, it really doesn't matter because they still need to build out the rest of the game, and your game design and development ability then really comes into play.
Yeah.
So if you are a more talented team, then you will succeed. Or if you're a Turkish developer, you'll succeed.
Yeah. Turkish developers who are like role models.
I don't know what's happening in Turkey. I don't know how there are so many successes over there. Yeah. It's incredible. It's an amazing ecosystem.
Yeah, it's very collaborative also.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's very collaborative.
Nice.
That's one big problem in India.
Okay.
Which again I feel is now getting sorted slowly.
Okay.
Because a lot of developers are willing to share what they're learning.
Okay. Have you spoken to any Turkish studios?
Yeah. We have.
Nice.
That's where I got this understanding, and this is the case with Turkish developers, Finland. All these people. Even Australian community is so tight.
Okay.
There is a very collaborative approach between all the studios.
Okay. Nice.
Crazy, man.
Nice.
So while you were working at with CrazyLabs on these games, soap cutting happened.
Yeah. So we were almost running out of money at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even our team members were like, dude, are you going to be able to pay us? Because we're not paid them for 2 months actually.
Okay.
And luckily we tested soap cutting and it had a good CPI. It tested retention. The retention also turned out to be really good. And then eventually it was launched. CrazyLabs published it. Yeah. It went on to become #1. And yeah, that's probably, I think, seeing soap cutting at like #1 is probably the best day of my life. Like 100%. Because like prior to that, for the past 5-6 years, every day I would look at the App Annie charts and then look at the top charts and see how I can sort of like get there.
Yeah. So, but it was insane. It was inspirational, man, to a lot of people in India.
Thanks.
Who then jumped into hyper casual because of soap cutting's success.
Yeah, I think we got that a lot from people we spoke to after that, because they were like, dude, if these guys can do it, then why can't we? And rightly so, I think, because that opportunity was there 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Talk about the numbers, man. If you can share any numbers on the downloads or anything that you can share on soap cutting and the rest of the other games that you did after that.
So the 3 games together, so we had 3 hit games with CrazyLabs: soap cutting, acrylic nails, and hair dye.
Okay.
And the 3 games together till date have done over 400 million installs.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, on iOS and Google Play. And they were launched in, soap cutting was launched in 2019, end of 2019.
Okay.
Acrylic nails was mid 2020 and hair dye was around April 2021. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so it's accumulated downloads.
And these were quick, one after the other.
These were fairly quick.
Yeah, at least I think 6-7 months.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, I think what we realized while we were building each of these games, Soap cutting didn't, it required development effort only on the core gameplay. Acrylic nails had core gameplay and very light meta. Customers were coming in, they were requesting for certain nails, etc. Then hair dye, we had to extend the meta even further. So the development time was increasing with each of these games.
Got it.
And maybe that was sort of an indicator that the market is now switching from hyper to hybrid as well.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah, so in terms of the profit that was generated from the games, of course, I can't sort of give specific numbers, but it's done upwards of $3 million in like pure profit.
Crazy, man. That's profit. That is after everything that comes. Oh man, crazy. So that actually helped CrazyLabs eventually to understand the potential of the studio, and they went out for an acquisition offer with you.
Yeah.
Talk about that, man. That's because that's one big success story in India. I don't know if you realize that, but it is one of the, if you ask me, top 5 success stories in India that has happened till date, Firescore's acquisition by CrazyLabs is one of the big things.
So honestly, like I feel that it's still it is on the lower side in terms of the acquisition amount and stuff.
Okay.
It's good for us because I think when we got the offer from them and we were discussing the deal, I think the question was always in our mind whether we should sell or not sell. But eventually we just thought that, in terms of getting credibility, it'll be really good. So we decided to go ahead with it. And also, I think the big thing was that the experience that we could get by working at CrazyLabs would be really valuable, because till then we'd not seen how a big company functions. So it was good. I don't see it as like one of the biggest success stories in India, very honestly, because it just happened. But ultimately, I think we went through the whole acquisition process. That was also fairly new to us because we were going through documentation and stuff, which was like very, very new and difficult for us to go through. But eventually it happened. And then we joined CrazyLabs, worked there for 2 years. CrazyLabs wanted to run an accelerator, did run an accelerator program in India called Crazy Hubs, where they were trying to basically get hits out of people who are fresh into game development.
Got it.
Yeah, so Surojit, my co-founder, he ran this, and eventually we got one hit game from the accelerator. It was called Lunchbox Ready.
Yeah.
I think the developer's name was Chaitanya. I think. But this guy has like 1-2 years of experience in game development. He makes a game. He's probably made a decent amount of revenue from it as well. Insane story. But yeah, besides that, we were doing sort of live ops for hair dye. We were trying to find success in hyper casual as well. But to be honest, the market changed quite a bit.
Correct.
Hyper casual was dying out. Apple's privacy changes came into play. So it became really difficult for other companies to target users.
Got it.
So because of that, the ECPMs in hyper casual games dropped.
Got it.
So the amount of money you were earning per ad view reduced, and hyper casual was like very dependent on like a very narrow arbitrage of like CPI LTV.
Yeah. So, crazy, man. Like what I know about you is you are more into these the analytics side of it. Very few people actually focus on that side. The bigger ones do. Obviously they do, because that's how you actually make big money from your game, right? But let's talk about the basics of it, because that would probably help the people to understand this segment really well. Give me the basics of UA, the user acquisitions. Okay. How does it work, and what are the important things that one should consider when you do UA?
Okay. So when you are starting a UA, so you need to basically have a UA platform to run your UA campaigns on. So for example, Facebook or Google. So you can go on Facebook. you need a video or a static image basically to start a UA campaign. That's all you need, and you need money, of course.
Is one better than the other? Like, if according to you?
So it depends. So sometimes static images can give you a low CPI.
No, I'm talking about the platform.
The platform.
Facebook better or Google Ads?
It's different for different games.
Got it.
Yeah, but I think it's difficult to like say make a blanket statement saying one is better than the other.
Understood.
It's just like different for different
Understood.
games. But say you want to run your campaign on Facebook, you know, Facebook has this Facebook Ads Manager dashboard where you can go and sort of like set up this whole thing.
Yeah.
All you need is a video or a static image. You can set up targeting details. Say I want to run a UA campaign in India, okay, and I want to spend 100 rupees a day in running this campaign. You can define all of these parameters. You can start the campaign. Now, what this will do is that it will start showing your ads on, say on Instagram when you're scrolling, you see an ad in between, right?
Yeah.
Or when you're switching between stories or reels, you see an ad in between.
Yeah.
That's where your ads will start showing.
Got it.
Now, someone sees the ad, they will, if suppose, you have experience with YouTube, Instagram, etc. And I think the big thing is
first 3 seconds.
Exactly. So that's what you need to focus on. If you hook someone for the first 3 seconds and they're seeing what your game offers, and if they're interested in it, they will click on it.
Okay.
Then they will go and install it. So you are charged on the click.
Okay.
You are charged on the install as well. So once somebody installs your game, they will go and play it, and then whatever the cost is for the install, that's your CPI. That's your cost per install.
Got it.
But there is a cost per impression as well. So there is...
That's a different type of campaign that you can do. Or it's included in this.
So it's not like when you start the campaign, Facebook only charges you every time you get an install. Okay. It charges you for the impressions also that it's shown.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's ultimately...
Yeah, visibility.
Yeah, it's visibility, and it's giving out ad space, right? To you instead of someone else. So you're getting charged per impression also.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of, because now we're talking about these hooks and the ads. We've seen a lot of crappy ads of games, right?
Yeah.
There's a recent debate on LinkedIn from a few publisher or ex-publishers, which is going on where, very, very absurd ads for games are being shown. What are your views on that?
To some extent, I've also done it. Like for acrylic nails, you're running these very cringy ads, where you are cutting the nails and then you don't cut it properly, so there's blood that squirts out and all, and it really grabs attention.
Yeah.
But I think there's a line to it.
Yeah.
I think you need to sort of draw a line somewhere.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
which I feel is now being crossed, because I see a lot of weird stuff.
Like any example?
I don't know, man.
I've seen this debate.
There's a lot of actually. See, two types. One is very gross content where someone is farting on someone else's face and all that stuff, and some ads are very, very kind of adult content, proper adult content that you see.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a debate that is happening. And then when you go inside the game, actually there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
But it's basically to pull the people. But again, I don't know how much ethical it is.
Yeah.
Or no. So that's what I wanted to know.
It's a tough one, man, because I think you need to draw a line somewhere, but it's different for different people, man.
Yeah.
I think that line is
because it's
very
not
subjective.
Because why the reason I brought this topic is because it's not one or two random developers. These are bigger publishers. These are bigger publishers who are putting these kind of ads, which is kind of scary when you think about the younger generation. The kids who are actually on, using smartphones. It's kind of scary, man.
Yeah. It is. I mean, see, if you're showing adult ads to kids, then 100% it's a no-no. So you do need to draw a line somewhere.
Yeah.
And regarding fake ads, I think that is very prevalent in the market. So I'm not talking about
that is fine. That is fine. That is absolutely fine, because one, the defense is that okay, this is something that the game would have potentially, like in the next updates, or kind of you can actually dodge that bullet.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this, I think it's a no. Straight up no.
Yeah. Fair. I think to each, there are two sides to this debate. I think I haven't actually thought about it very deeply, but you need to be ethical in some way.
Yeah. So we spoke about the UA. You like everything that is required to run a campaign has been clear. Once you run the campaign, what are the things that you need to analyze in that campaign?
Yeah. So I think the main thing that you need to look at is what your cost per install is.
Okay.
You know, you can look at things like what the CTR is, the click-through rate, basically how many people are clicking, what percentage of people are clicking on the ad after seeing it.
Yeah.
And you can optimize that as well, you know, by sort of like adding hooks or adding a good end of video card saying download now or whatever.
Right.
You know, so you can optimize all of these things. But you can go deeper and look at the view duration and stuff also. But ultimately, what you need to get to is a good CPI.
Got it.
Now, currently in the industry, a good CPI is dependent on the kind of game that you're making. Now, actually, that was always the case.
Yeah.
But if you have a CPI of say 70 cents, okay, and you've got like 100 users in the US with an average cost of 70 cents.
Okay.
You need to basically ensure that those 100 users, that per user basically, is making you more money that you've spent. So, okay, so let me just make it like very simple, right? So, suppose if I've spent $100 in acquiring 100 users in the US. So, I've spent $1 per user, right? And I've spent $100 basically on this cohort. Eventually, with this cohort of 100 users, I need to make more than $100. So I need to make maybe $120 to $150.
Understood.
Now, how do I do that?
Yeah, and that doesn't matter if out of those 100, only 2 people can take me to that 150.
They can.
Or 50 people do that.
They can.
That is irrelevant.
Yeah, that is irrelevant. But
then you actually find your audience also.
Exactly.
This is my actual audience.
Exactly. And that is, so if you're doing ad monetization, if you're doing IP also, but I'll speak specifically about ads. It heavily relies on a lot of things that are happening in the game. So your day 1 retention, your day 3 retention, your day 7 retention.
Yeah.
Then, you know, so when we used to speak about retention back in the day, it was always about, I need to get this day 1 retention, I need to get this day 7 retention. But why do you need to get it?
Yeah.
Right? Because if I've got 100 users on day 0, and say 40% or 40 users are coming back on day 1, and they're playing my game for another 30 minutes, I'm generating more revenue from those users because I'm showing them more ads.
Correct.
So you need to sort of like calculate on a day-by-day basis what the ideal retention is for you, for your CPI, for your game.
Correct.
You know, you can look at industry benchmarks and say that, I need to get this retention, this CPI. But ultimately, from a mobile game, you want to make a profit.
Correct.
You know, that equation maybe is different for different games. But whatever suits you and whatever suits your game, something you need to analyze and look at.
Absolutely. Cool. So then this is about the campaigns, right? In terms of analytics, when you are actually looking at your game's analytics, what are the key elements again that you need to track? Because I want to come to ROAS, but if you can help me understand step by step, that would be great.
So you want to track, so retention is the first metric that you're tracking.
Also, day 0 is when you install.
Day
1 is when you actually...
The next day. Yes.
Yeah.
And then then you're tracking day 3 and day 7.
Okay.
It goes all the way up to day 60, day 90, day 365
and this is
for casual
freemium,
games.
Free-to-play games. It just goes on 30, 60, 90.
Yeah, up to 365 also for casual games or mid-core games as well. So,
but hyper-casual, hybrid casual today are, say, 30 days important. The first 30 days are...
Hybrid casual, 30 to 60 days. 30 to all the way to 90 days is important. Sometimes even more. So let's speak about maybe hyper casual because it'll be the simplest to understand. So hyper casual is probably you're looking at till day 7.
Okay, that's
at
it.
max. Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
And publishers also know it very well that this is something that has got good results. It's got like 10 cents.
Yeah.
We have to make 20 cents per user.
Yeah.
And that's for 7 days, and we just that's it.
Exactly. There were some games, and there have been some games in the past in hyper casual where the payback periods they've made their money back in like maybe 2 days or so, even. Those were like the golden days of hyper casual. Yeah. But yeah, till today I think 7 days at least is the case with hyper casual.
So 7 days you focus on the retention.
Yeah. So now this means that your day 0 is say 100% of your users are there.
Yeah.
Your day 1 40%, say for example. So 40 users are coming.
Yeah.
Now what is their behavior like in that specific day? How much time are they playing for?
Yeah.
Those 40 users, are they playing for like maybe 30 minutes?
Yeah.
On that second day, on that first day, I mean day 1. Within that 30 minutes, how many ads can I show them? Can I show them 3 interstitials and 3 rewarded videos per user? So then you can calculate with sort of like with knowing the ad rate per view.
Yeah.
How much money I'm making from those 40 users as well.
Got it.
Coming back the next day. And how much money, of course, this same applies for day 0 as well, for those 100 users. So of course, you will probably make most of your ad revenue on day 0, where you have most of the users as well.
Right.
And then that revenue on day 1 reduces.
Right.
Then day 2 it reduces further. Yeah. And it keeps reducing like that till day 7.
Got it.
Ultimately, your goal is that you spend that $100 in the campaign, you want to make $120 to $150.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And this is where ROAS comes in.
Okay.
Yeah. So ROAS is basically your return on ad spend. So if I've spent $100, can I make 120% on it, which means $120.
Got it.
How much time is it taking me to make the $120? Is it taking me 7 days?
Yeah.
If it's taking me 7 days, that means I hit, my break-even point might be say day 3 or day 4.
Yeah.
That means that's my ROAS break-even point.
Got it.
Day 7, if I'm making $120, which means my day 7 ROAS is 120%.
Yeah.
Which means my payback period is 7 days.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. And what is ARPU?
ARPU is the average revenue.
How do you actually calculate ARPU for a user for a game?
So it's an average again, right? So now, for example, if our user has made, if we've got 100 users in the campaign,
yeah,
and say by day 7, all of these users together, I've got $200 made from this campaign.
Yeah.
Then my ARPU is $2. Basically.
Okay.
Yeah. And ARPU is also, it's also dependent on a timeline.
Okay.
So if I've made $200 in 7 days, it means my day 7 ARPU is $2. So I made average revenue per user is $2.
Okay.
Into the 100 users that I've got.
Understood. And that is a combination of IAP and ads.
It could be a combination of IAPs and ads. So I've spoken mostly about ads.
Yeah.
IAP conversion is, speaking about IAPs and talking about the conversion is like a deeper conversation as well. But yeah, because IAP is also the thing is that maybe 0.5 to 1% of your users convert into paying users, and they convert into paying users at different times. And
majorly people who have already enjoyed the game, they're playing it.
Yeah.
And then they make a decision to buy, right? It's
exactly.
not happening on day 1.
Exactly. But yeah, I think it's important that if you're looking to make a mobile game, it's important that you try user acquisition on your own. Especially in a country like India, you can do it for cheap.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
it's very during StoryPix days, we used to get like 1 rupee per user in India.
That's amazing.
And the moment we actually do some sort of we never crossed the boldness line.
Okay.
There was always like a thin line between straight content, like clean content, and erotic content.
Okay.
But the moment we reached to that line, right, it used to spike. the ad, it was like 50 paise, 60 paise was like 1 user. People used to jump on it like crazy. Yeah, contradicting everything that we discussed. Bad ads.
Listen, as long as I feel like as long as it's not aimed towards kids, man, I think it's fine.
Yeah. No, it was targeted towards that. Sorry to use this word, Turkey audience sitting in tier 2, tier 3 remote locations of India. So that people even crazy, bro. I remember StoryPix times we had a WhatsApp group and a Telegram channel.
Okay.
And dude, both these channels used to flood with messages and people sharing adult stuff within those channels.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. I'm like, what are you doing, guys?
So you build like a proper community with StoryPix.
Yeah, but we never wanted to go that route, no?
Yeah.
Like people commenting, people just sharing messages like, sir, make a story on a maid. Kind of stuff, bro. It's so dark, so shady, man. And then at one point of time, like the idea that we had was WhatsApp, where we allow people to come talk to each other. And because we were also targeting female audience. Yeah. And then it was all a failed plan because none of the females wanted to share their WhatsApp numbers on that WhatsApp channel. Because all of these male players were like crazy, just wanted to share the content within this. And then unfortunately we had to just stop both the channels and stop the product as well.
Shit, man.
Because it was getting bigger and bigger every day with that sort of content, right?
Are you serious?
Yeah, man.
Someone else is gonna pick it up and do it now.
Dude, I already we had few conversations with those tier 2, tier 3 OTT platforms. They went crazy behind the idea. Yeah, it's still like a possibility of just giving it to them and make some cash on it. But
yeah, I think it makes sense.
I don't think we would ever do that because that's not something that we actually wanted to do from the beginning.
No, fair enough. I think you probably had set up StoryPix because you have theater
the storytelling
in your DNA.
The narrative games, the story-driven content was something that I was personally interested in. But the story was secondary.
Dude, people love this sort of content, man. I mean, look at OnlyFans. It's crazy.
Dude, Netflix couldn't do well in India, but Ullu did. All Balaji did.
Exactly. They're killing it.
Yeah. They know the content. They know the people.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So, out of all these experience, right? Tell me, can a small company at this, like today, make like millions of dollars from simple mobile games? I'm not talking about like a huge free-to-play title, but let's say hybrid casual or even smaller than that.
Okay. So there are a couple of paths basically for a studio that is... So you're saying studio that is just starting out?
Yeah.
Okay, just starting out new.
Yeah. You can say or I'll just rephrase the question. What would you do if you wanted to start a new company today in 2025 and make $1 million? More than $1 million.
Yeah, and I was just starting out in my game.
Just starting out, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, great question. Because the market is more difficult compared to when we started out.
Yeah.
But I think the first thing that I would do is probably just improve my skill. I'd pick a subgenre. I'd pick something maybe in puzzle or maybe something in tower defense, strategy, or whatever it is that interests me. But something that wouldn't take too long to develop at the same time.
Yeah.
I'll work within my limitations. I think if you're a studio where one of the founding team members knows how to code, I think it's great because then your initial cost goes down. You don't need to hire people maybe.
Yeah.
But I would try and sort of improve my skills first for the first 6 months maybe by just putting content out, putting games out and just keep improving at it. I would look at hybrid casual as a segment and try to innovate and make games on those lines. Maybe hybrid casual puzzle is what I would look at.
Okay.
And I would just make games for 6 months, build up my portfolio. And then I would try and go and approach a publisher and ask them if they would like to partner up and if they can give me a retainer. So take their expertise on board as well, start working with them.
Okay.
Just a disclaimer, the number of publishers wanting to work with external studios now has reduced significantly with hybrid casual coming in.
Got it.
In 2021, every publisher wanted to work with a lot of Indian developers.
Yeah.
Now they've become very, very selective about it. And this is the reason I said that I would spend the first 6 months in developing my skill and really improving at it.
Got it.
And slowly with that retainer money, maybe grow my team and try and see if I can sort of find a hit game with this publisher.
Got it. Got it. But back of the mind, you are keeping up a time period, a time frame of like a year of not making money.
Yeah. I think that's why it's important to have a founding team, which where you can survive just on the basics. Yeah. Which is of course hard.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Because talking about the founding team, a lot of people who are working with you at Triple Tap today, so the new company that you started, are from, I think, from All in a Day's Place time itself.
Yeah.
How important do you feel is this collaboration for for anybody to?
Dude, very important. I think your team is everything.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they are going to war with you.
Yeah.
Basically. Right. So it's just very important to firstly develop that loyalty. I think you need to sort of treat them. Deepak actually put it really well on your podcast that you need to treat them like family members.
Yeah.
But I think you can't build a company without the foundation of the company being proper.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky that I've had these guys with me throughout, from All in a Day's Play to Firescore and then now to Triple Tap Games.
Yeah.
We know how each of us works.
Correct.
So it's very important, man. And then once you're building a company, you sprinkle a few more talented people around this, and then you have a very good combination.
Yeah. What is it? What is like one or two things that you think you did right with the team that helped you keep them together for so many years?
I think I've been like very chill. I think I'm not like, I don't know, maybe they'll say something different. But I think I try and not sort of give them an impression that I'm a boss or something like that in the company.
Got it.
Hopefully not. But I feel like I treat them like friends basically. And ultimately, and I've heard of a lot of horror stories where, people have worked at companies and the bosses have been
assholes.
Complete assholes. And that sort of like is very negative. But I've always sort of been conscious of being very friendly with everyone, just like, hanging with bros, that sort of thing. So that's one thing for sure. The other thing is, I don't know, man. I don't know actually.
I think one thing that worked for me, because I also have like my core team with me for more than 10 years now. One thing that worked, the first thing is absolutely the same thing that you mentioned. There is no barriers. There is no hierarchy. I know a lot of companies, studios in India where there's a big gap between the founders and the people. We have a pantry table here. All of us sit there. We eat our lunch like we used to do in schools. Like you open the box and it's just vanished kind of thing, right?
Nice.
So that really works with me also. But the second most important thing I feel worked for me is the kind of opportunity, and I think it has worked for you as well, because as an outsider, I have seen that the amount of growth opportunities that we put forward. And it's not that we are actually, doing some favor on them. It's because these people are talented enough to pick those responsibilities and opportunities that we throw at them. And it eases our life as well. But it helps them grow as well. And it's not like it's taking them years to reach from point A to point B. They can actually catapult their own careers with that one responsibility that they pick up in their journey with you and me that I know.
100%. I think it's even with you sort of in your team, you have given a lot of opportunities to a lot of people, and I think they've stayed loyal with you for a very long duration as well.
Absolutely.
And I know for a fact that people have gone out of underdogs as well and have actually done really well in their careers too.
Man.
So it shows the learnings that they're getting over here as well. And you're right. I think it's not like, for me, it's not like, they are talented. And now that I think back, there are so many like small points in, say, the journey, like say, or building, soap cutting, acrylic nails, or hair dye, where we probably wouldn't have succeeded if maybe our programmer had done A, B, and C, or if our artist had made the soap in a certain manner. So for acrylic nails was made during lockdown. So it was me, Surojit, Siddesh, our lead developer, and Ravish, our lead artist, who were basically sitting in the office for a duration of 3 weeks. We were basically working from 9 a.m. till 4 a.m. in the morning, and then just sleeping for like 3-4 hours, coming back and then working again. And that sort of dedication, if you can get from your team members, is extremely valuable.
Unfortunately, again, like you just mentioned it, but then it also sometimes goes against us when it comes to, long hours, working hours, this crunch culture. So there is nothing like crunch culture, man. It's just wrong, production scoping that your bosses have done, and now they're suffering. And the people who love working on games will spend time with you working on games.
Exactly.
Right? That's what it is, man.
You know what the only truth about game development is, right?
No.
That your game will get delayed.
It's true. I will make sure that this doesn't.
But it's honestly, it's my choice to work till late. And even with these guys, like I'm giving, like obviously we give them a choice. We don't force them to fucking work till late. But they're happy to do it, and I think the whole sort of acquisition, when it happened, I think the biggest thing for us was that the team members got a decent payout from it.
That's the outcome, right? If you actually stick to it, it's going to be coming back to you.
And the big, I think, like, I'm sure this is the case for you as well. Like a big motivation for us as founders is that the team eventually gets paid out well, and that's like the big motivation for me when I'm building this company as well, that I want these guys to get paid out really well again. So
exactly, man. That's the same.
Exactly. Because even when you're looking at your team, you're thinking about them like they're your family, right?
And also, like, see, I also believe that if you as a founder are not doing this, like treating the company, the people as a family, that's also fine. Like everybody has their own way of doing things. Nothing is right or wrong. Because a lot of people believe that, they are very clear in their heads that I know this guy is working here for next 2 years and that's it. He's going to go. Or this guy is working here for a year now and probably he already has plans to go and do MS and all that stuff, right? So they are pretty clear, and then they keep that distance also, which is also okay.
I think it's completely fine.
Because sometimes, the drawbacks of what we do is I personally, I don't know about you, but sometimes when things should not be taken personally would also come in the personal side of it. Like,
okay.
You can't really be very professional with this team. A lot of times, you know, then you actually start building that bond of a brotherhood, and then sometimes you do things or you say things which are non-professional, but then that probably get in your way. Like, you get my point, right?
Yeah, but do you? So, but does it get in your way? Like, if you have that bond with that sort of person, like, isn't there like an understanding then between?
No, there is no fight, I'm saying. It's just that you get emotionally attached to some level where you would start expecting the similar kind of understanding from the person. And obviously they will not have that level of dedication probably that you have, because this is your own company, and to some degree they'll take a back step and say, you know, this part I'll skip it, and then it hurts you.
I know what you mean.
So that happens when in professional setup, the other person who is not doing this, attachment and all, he never faces this challenge.
That's true.
So there are pros and cons of both the angles.
That's true. Have you ever felt like really bad when someone from your team has left?
100%. You can say 80% of the times, like the people, if 80 people left my company out of 100, those I felt really bad for them. You met Hayung, right? The art director. He used to work with us from 2016 to 2019. Okay. The only reason we had to let him go was because we didn't have enough money to pay him. He literally broke down because he had no other option. He had his family to answer. He wanted to work with us, but you know, we were not in a good shape at that time. And he's expensive. He's super talented, man. He's super talented. He's one artist that I've met who breaks one mouse every month. He clicks that fast.
That's insane.
And I have to supply him mouse every month. It's crazy, bro.
Dude, that's unheard of. That's amazing.
Yeah, bro. It's like the even, you know, the pieces of Mukti that we are building today. It's a whole museum. Okay, it's a 2-floor museum with British Gothic architecture. This guy has actually brought some book from some architectural expert who was during British time, who was building these buildings in India, in Mumbai. He has calculated every angle, every curve, every pillar size, every height, and he has built this architecture single-handedly. And it's ready. It's ready.
Wow.
And he did that in 2 months.
That's amazing.
And area, if you look at it, like it's a huge museum.
That's
with
amazing.
Roughly around 30 rooms into it.
That's amazing. Also, it's insane, like how important and valuable that one addition to the team can be.
You know? Absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So we had to let him go, this guy, and I was the saddest I've been out of all the people. This was the guy. The very first call when we got the Sony deal
was to him. That's amazing, man.
He was sitting in Sikkim, working remote for one of the big outsourcing companies, you know it, like big IT firm in India, and he was doing some VR 3D stuff for them. The moment he heard this, just quit everything and ran to Mumbai, work with us.
Amazing.
Crazy. You get attached.
Yeah. 100%. I think like just building on that, it's so important to add the right team members as well. They need to fit into your culture. They need to be very driven as well. I feel like you can probably come across a lot of smart people, a lot of very talented people, but eventually if they're not driven.
The DNA matters. Man.
It does.
DNA matters.
It does.
The talent itself is not enough.
Yeah.
One simple example, we hired one guy. It was at game designer.
Okay.
There were 2 game designers, trainee game designers from Rubika, DSK.
Okay.
One was super talented. He was crazy, super talented. I mean, he was kind of, I'm a different world guy. And he used to speak to himself and all that stuff. Like, we used to sometimes get scared of this guy. Super talented, and the other one was very average.
Okay.
This guy fitted really well with the people, the DNA, hung around with people, chill guy, the average guy. This guy was super talented, always kept a distance from the team, never used to speak to the team. Lunch, everybody sitting together. This guy will sit in one corner alone, eat his bread and cheese. Dude, it never
didn't click.
Yeah, and the day we were actually letting them go, the internship certificate and all that stuff. And I just directly told him, if I get a chance to rework with you guys again, I'll work with this guy, but not you.
What did he say?
Nothing, man. Dude, he had zero feelings, nothing. Like, and I don't think I could. That's my personal thing. I want people to gel up, to have that core DNA, like 100%. The company, and that takes you far.
Yeah, 100%. It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So you need to enjoy working together.
Of course.
As well. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Another thing I wanted to ask you, because we are on the same topic of, the team and so.
Yeah.
I've noticed that since the beginning, you opted to work with a co-founder.
Yeah.
First it was Abhinav, then it was Surojit.
Yeah.
At Triple Tap, you are also now working with someone, to be the co-founder of the company.
Yeah.
What is the ideology? How important do you think a role of a co-founder is in a company?
Yeah. We don't have a co-founder. I don't have a co-founder right now at Triple Tap. Yeah.
Okay.
It started with Surojit actually, but eventually Surojit wanted to take a break.
Yeah.
So,
but you have the thought process now to have a co-founder.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Tell me why the co-founder is necessary.
Dude, I think it's like the co-founder is like your therapist, man. It's like you need to discuss.
Dude, it just clicked, man. Like I have the same kind of relationship with Sankesh.
Yeah.
My co-founder, dude.
Yeah.
I never thought about it.
Yeah, it is like that, right? Because you're going through so much in building your business. You need to have someone who's going through that exact same experience to actually truly understand you.
Yeah. Plus a different view.
Yeah, and provide a different view. And, you all can complement each other like that. See, in terms of skill set and stuff, of course, it's very important. All of that, I think a lot of people talk about. But yeah, to provide you with a contrarian view is also very important.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's very, and someone to give you a bit of a kick on your ass also.
Yeah.
Right? Someone who holds you accountable in the team as well.
Yeah.
So you need that. I think both my co-founders have been really good. Abhinav was like really intelligent and is really I got to learn a lot from him. Surojit was like this Mr. Cool. He was like, I would get stressed. I was like, bro, the world is ending. What is happening? He'd be like, dude, figure it out. Just chill. So he was like, and I've had so many deep conversations with him about so many things and like just been through so much. So I think it's important that you have that companion, your work wife, basically. Yeah. So, dude, I think, and that's why I'm looking for a co-founder as well now. And we'll get someone in the team.
Yeah, no, it's totally relatable, man, because in my case, I am an extremist. If there's some good thing happening, I'll be super happy. If there's something off, I will be super sad. There's no middle. There's no gray area for me. It's either black or white. You'll see me in 2 modes only. Yeah. And my co-founder, Sankesh, he is absolutely poker faced. He's chill. Like even with people, right? If I'm upset on something, you'll see that on my face. This guy will laugh with you, smile with you, and inside is like, तेरी मारता हूँ. And a lot of times this has happened and I'm panicking, I'm sitting with him and I'm telling him and there's कुछ नहीं होता. This is not going to happen. Don't overthink and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, like my wife Meera also, she always says this, that she's the second wife, he's the first wife.
I love it. It's very true, man.
It's true, dude.
Yeah.
Because things that probably I share with him first and then with Meera.
Yeah.
The Sony deal also.
Yeah.
Like he and me knew it for 2 months before we shared it with her.
Wow.
Crazy,
wow.
bro.
You need that one person with you in the journey.
Yeah.
And it's a long journey. So yeah. That's great.
Crazy.
Even with me, with Surojit, that was the case, like to a large extent, because sort of like I would overthink and like I would think of like several different scenarios of how things would play out. Like he was just like very chill, man. Also, I think it's with both Surojit and Abhinav, I think the one thing that both of them did for me was they always inspired me to do better.
Yeah.
Because they were just so hardworking, man. Like they would just sit till 4 a.m. try to figure out the solution for like anything and everything, and that like just seeing that firsthand like always inspired me, and I'm sure that will be the case with you and Sankesh also.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude, I travel a lot,
Okay.
and he'll manage the studio.
Nice.
That's our roles. Like I'm allowed to be public, be vocal, because this guy's backing me, managing the studio here.
Nice. Yeah. Behind every successful man, there's a work wife.
True. All right, man. Fun conversation.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great.
Before we wrap this up, I've seen your journey, and
I've seen yours.
Yeah, man. Both of us have, and both of us have gone through a lot of failures.
Yeah. Constantly.
Yeah. What are your views on these failures? Because gaming today is at a stage in India specifically where persistence is utmost like the priority of anybody who wants to start.
Yeah.
Views on failure.
I think what you said is key. Persistence is very important.
Yeah.
The most cliched thing that people say is that, fine, fail, but learn from it. Yeah. I think I'll also stick by it. I think don't worry about failure. Don't get bogged down by it. Everyone fails. You need to fail 1,000 times to get to that one success. All these stories that we read about, say, the Flappy Bird guy, coming in and getting success on his first game. That's very, very rare. That's like 0.0001% of people like in the world who will get that sort of success.
Yeah.
But for me personally, the important thing has been that because I've developed so many games in the past and failed so much is the reason why I eventually got to having some success with soap cutting, etc.
Yeah.
But before that, there were just so many failures.
Yeah, also like when soap cutting actually got into that correct CPI, how many prototypes you made and they failed?
Yeah.
All of us did. Like I remember making 100 prototypes.
Yeah.
And then getting that one boom bit ramp jump thing, which again didn't happen after everything. But yeah, man, it's true for you also.
Yeah, 100%. I think the great thing about hyper casual was that you could keep failing and then trying again. But I think in general with games, and this is why I think it's important if you're running a small studio or if you have a small team, I think it's important that you sort of factor in multiple failures also.
Yeah.
To sort of like figure out what your runway will look like if you have these multiple failures. Everyone sort of thinks about the best case scenario. I think start thinking about the worst case scenario and it's okay, fail. Yeah. It's fine. I think a lot of times, the fear of failure also prevents us from putting out a game faster than what we should.
Yeah.
We tend to spend time in over polishing it, overthinking things, changing things here and there. But I think the best sort of validation and the best data that you can get is from people who are actually playing it in the market.
Right.
So yeah, I think just constantly failing is super important to eventually get success. I think you've sort of like faced that as well, right?
Yeah. Every time, I feel failure just takes you one step closer to success.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, you just keep on doing things. See, end of the day, what is it that you are not going to regret?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it because you're failing? I wouldn't just, because I'm failing, I wouldn't just go to in an IT firm where I know programming, so I'll go and sit and do. I'll be cursing myself for the rest of my life for not trying and failing and just sitting and doing nothing.
100%.
Yeah, it's like that, man. Like there's one saying, man, कि वो ये रहता ना, लोखंड रहता ना, it is better to actually go through stuff and wear down rather than just sitting idle and get rust on it.
Yeah.
So that's
100%. Completely agree. I think like one more thing I'll say is that, so when you're learning from your failures, try to properly assess what went wrong. Don't just blindly make a conclusion from your failure. Why exactly did you fail? Did I pursue the right subgenre, for example? Did I build a game that people want? Was my FTUE not good? What were the things that caused failure over here? Assess like every point properly, write it down, and then sort of try and build out on your next game. Also, one more thing I'll say is that, especially in mobile gaming, if you are building, say, a puzzle game and you failed at that, and then now you switch to action, you're making too big a jump. Fail 10 times with puzzle, and then that 11th time you'll succeed with puzzle, because like you've just built that sort of experience with it. Yeah, exactly. One question I'll ask you,
dude. Go on.
What are your views on working in the company versus working on the company?
Oh shit, let me
the age-old conversation.
Let me just give the context to the audience. This is something that we've been talking about since 10 years.
Yeah.
Guys, we need to work on the company, not in the company.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man, you brought up the right point. Yeah, dude, I think both of us and the others that we were, working with, all of us realized this very soon. And we are like, I am personally thankful for that. When you are running a company, you can't just do everything. You should be really good at delegating things. I know that you want to do this. That if I jump into this will be better, or I'll do it faster. That every founder feels. But you need to figure out your ways. You actually can't get in the company, sit in the company and do that work. That's why it's said that as a founder, you should work on the company, not in the company. When you are on the company, you figure out the obstacles, the problems, you bring in the right people, delegate stuff, and get things done. This is something that I don't know, man, read somewhere or heard in some documentary, but this was crazy learning, man.
Yeah.
This was crazy. And it actually shifted my mindset back in 2015 itself. Dude, your founder never actually has to.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. I think I compare it to making a football team. Actually, you're picking the right players in the right position ultimately to build like a cohesive unit that can eventually go and compete against other teams and win titles and stuff. So that's how I look at it. And your job is to basically assemble this team and get them to sort of work together and coach them rather than like going and doing the things yourself.
Yeah, man. But because you brought up football, there's one thing that I missed speaking to you, bro, you play football.
Yeah, I play football.
And I know you're doing it for like 15 years, 10, 15 years now.
Yeah.
Just talk about that. And also the important part is how does that helps you in your life? Because I'm sure that helps. Because there's something that I also do, which definitely helps me, which is theater. Talk about this in terms of the fitness angle as well as your personal life or your professional life. It definitely helps.
Dude, firstly, I've become old as hell now.
So now I can't into a coach side or
no. I can't like run as fast as I used to and stuff. But firstly, I look at football as sort of my time. It's just me focusing on playing this game, and it's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
For me, because I play twice a week, and in general, I think what it's just taught me the importance of team.
Yeah.
Very honestly, and also in football, one thing is that if suppose you are getting tired, and your energy levels are dropping, and people around you in your team see that as well.
Yeah.
They can very easily sort of drop in that sort of energy level as well, especially say if you're captaining the team and stuff.
Yeah.
But it takes one person in the team sort of to shout at people, to motivate them, to just lead by example, to go hard in a tackle or whatever it is, just sort of lead by example, and then it gets everyone lifted up.
Yeah.
I think that is something that you can take into your team as well, into your day-to-day as well.
Yeah.
That you can inspire people by just like leading by example as well, and just by being enthusiastic and like just lifting everyone's spirits.
Yeah.
So I think I couldn't imagine going a week without playing football now. Like it's just very therapeutic.
Yeah.
And you just need to like let go of things as well. All the aggression that builds up, it just like comes out. Yeah, it comes out on the football pitch.
Yeah.
So how does theater help you?
Dude, theater has helped me break all the barriers of shying away from, experimenting or doing things. See, I was never an introvert. I was always like couldn't say introvert, but I was not really someone who could actually easily go and speak to people.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that as introvert, but I used to be social. But when I stepped on theater for the first time, I went blank. I went complete blank because when you perform a dance, right? When you are actually dancing on stage, you still see people.
Yeah.
There are some lights on. You see people.
Yeah.
You see their expressions, and you get along with that expression. Even in stand-up comedy, right? You see one person who reacts to your joke, and your whole set is on.
You get the validation
with that person. Yeah, and you can keep on talking to that guy.
Got it.
With theater, right? When you are performing, everything is dark.
Okay.
It's all black because the spot is on you.
Okay.
It's only on you, and you're performing, and you don't see anybody.
Okay.
And you don't know what is happening. The first validation is a clap.
Okay. And when does the clap come?
When you do better. Dude, when the curtains open, right? People definitely clap in to, motivate you. When you come in, it's all what you do. And it's not that like every play has that clap moment.
Yeah.
Some plays start very gradually, slowly, but people take notice of that slow approach also.
Okay.
But when I went on it, right, I had this fear of stage before doing theater.
Okay.
That all broke down.
Nice.
Like it just went off. Like it's the spotlight is on you.
No.
You have to love your voice because the next thing that cracks up is your voice.
Yeah.
And everybody's just listening to your voice.
Yeah.
But when you actually bring that one clap, you're the hero. Then you drive the audience the way you want. So when I played that, I played Albert Einstein's Ghost.
I've seen the pictures.
One of the play that I did back in 2012, 13, 14, 15, 3-4 years. I won roughly around 60 state level awards for that because that was crazy.
Wow.
That was performance oriented, like heavy power. Right from my entry it was collapse. Because it was like a bomb kind of an entry where people were not expecting this guy to come out of grave, and it's a dark on stage, and then suddenly I pop up.
That's insane.
And it went. And by the end of the play, we used to get a standing ovation, at least like half a minute standing ovation. So that was crazy.
That's amazing.
But that helped me break all the fear that I have in speaking to people. Also, my plays always used to be team oriented. I never used to do plays with 2-3 people.
Okay.
There's something called as mob, which is like 30 people behind you.
Okay.
So my play was around college.
Okay.
Right? When you are directing, I used to direct that play. So when you are directing...
So you're directing and acting?
Acting, yeah. Directing and acting. Primarily, I'm a director.
Okay. Okay.
Then an actor.
Okay. That's why game design.
Yeah. So when you are directing that, right, a play with 40 people on stage, you need to make sure everybody is living his life in that play.
Yeah, that's a huge undertaking. By the way.
Yeah. And the guy in the corner of that stage has to have the natural antics and match the main characters.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to make sure as a director. And the toughest part is when you are also acting in it, because you don't see that. Right. So you need to play 2 roles. You need to do that twice.
Okay.
And all that.
Okay.
But that direction, right, that controlling of a team, that leadership, it all got into me from theatre.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Then I also play cricket. I play a lot of cricket.
Okay. Nice.
I captain my team, and with that particular team, I've won a lot of. Same thing. It just clicked. The football thing that you mentioned, right? The aggression and everything.
Yeah.
Dude, that comes out in that cricket matches also.
100%. So I see now like how your sort of founder journey has been shaped basically because of theatre as well.
Yeah. Theatre helped me a lot. Now it's become very like, I don't get enough time to do that.
Okay.
But I do make sure that I watch more plays.
Okay.
Yeah. At least just to get that. It's a dopamine, bro. I'm telling you, the biggest nasha is when you're on stage. No other chemical would give you that hit that stage gives you.
I'm sure. And then getting that applause at the end as well.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing, man. Hopefully we'll get to see you in a play soon.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Or maybe acting in Mukti.
Let's talk about it in a few months.
Cool.
All right, bro. Super amazing
good,
conversation, man. Thank you for coming to the podcast.
All right. Thank you for having me. It was an absolute pleasure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Done.
Chalo, sick.
If you reached to this part in the episode, I'm very sure you've liked the conversation that we had. If you like the video, please leave a like and start a conversation in the comment section below. We've also added the links to our guest in the description, so please do check out. Also, if you're finding this video or the channel for the first time, do consider subscribing to the channel, because that will help us bring in more amazing guests on this podcast series. That's it for this episode. Thank you for watching the video.